What's up? Welcome back to my channel. Chrissy Explains It All. So, I definitely have a lot of explaining to do. And as always, if I'm going to explain, I got to explain it all. So, let's go ahead and get into the explanation. So, we are here. We're talking about another episode of The Real Housewives of Potomac. This was episode 11. And I believe the name of the episode was There Is No Business Like the Shade Business. Which I have to say, these producers or whoever is very clever. Because they always pick out the best names for these shows. And it's No Business Like the Shade Business is definitely a play on what was happening tonight on the episode, because we had Candiace doing her show business thing when she recorded her music video for Drive Back, which is a bop, seriously. And then, which happened to be the topic tonight, was business. And we definitely got into a lot of the housewives and their businesses, and some people was getting all up in other people's businesses and business. But let's go ahead and get started. So I have to say, I recognized a trend at the top of the episode. We definitely got a little bit of the category at first, and I have to say the category is mother-daughter duos. So who better to start this episode off none other than Candiace and Miss Dorothy. And you know, I have to say, I love Miss Dorothy. Miss Dorothy is definitely the Mama Joyce of Potomac. I mean, you know, Mama Joyce, Candy Burris' mother, and on Housewives of Atlanta, you know Mama Joyce always, you know, keeps us laughing. And I have to say, Miss Dorothy does the same for Potomac, and she brings a little bit extra flair to the show. So I definitely always enjoy getting some clips from Miss Dorothy. And I also have to say, Miss Dorothy is just as much of a train wreck on social media as her daughter. Miss Dorothy is always all up in the comments giving people the business for real. So Miss Dorothy is in town, obviously, because Candiace is recording her video. But while she's in town, you know, she taking the time to be over there at Candiace's house and basically giving her opinion on Candiace's decor. So you know, this is a mama thing. Your mama always gonna come to your house and tell you what need to be done, tell you what look good, what don't look good, tell you what pillows need to be fluffed, and you know, think that they know it all. So you know, Candiace is really just putting up with Miss Dorothy. But it was a cute little scene between the two of them. Like I said, I do enjoy Miss Dorothy. But moving right along, we get another mother-daughter duo, and we are seeing Giselle and Grace. And we all can agree that Giselle is always more likable when she is with her daughters, because we get to see just a different side of her. And so I can appreciate her when she is, you know, on her in mommy mode, because she's just totally a different person. So Grace has finally gotten her driver's permit. And I have to say, no shade, but I see why it was taking Grace a little bit long to get that permit, because baby girl cannot drive. Giselle took her out for some driving lessons, and she was driving Jamal's little car. Remember, I think it was like maybe sometime last season, Giselle was driving a Mini Cooper with the little Gucci stripes, and she said that it was Jamal's car that he left at her house. Well, Miss Grace is driving that car, and it's the perfect car, I think, for a teenager, because it's small enough to where you can learn how to drive in it. But Miss Grace was having, you know, some difficulty. Of course, Giselle takes her to a parking lot so that she can, you know, get her feet wet with the driving, and I have to say, Giselle also made a comment saying that, you know, she wished that really she could just take Grace up the street to Jamal's house and let him deal with it. But unfortunately, you know, everything is on her shoulders. Jamal does not live close by. But you know, to hear her saying that, which it came out of her mouth, don't come at me about nothing, it came out of her mouth. She said that everything is on her. I'm hoping that Jamal, when he comes into town, that he does his part as a parent, because it does look like, you know, Giselle's definitely, I have to give it to her, she is holding it down as a single parent. But I'm hoping that, you know, Jamal does his part to help her out. Then we get Miss Mia. And I have to say, I'm kind of over Mia at this point right now. The verdict is yet again out on Mia, because I don't know what I think about her. I think she's doing a little bit too much, and this is her first season, and I wish that she would just come in and sit down and chill. But she has come in and she doing too much. But anyway, we'll talk about that another time. We get Mia, and she places a FaceTime call to her mother, Mama Mia. And if you can remember, I think it was an episode or two ago, she finally sat down with her mom and had a conversation. They met out. So it sounded like Mia was extending basically an invitation to her mom, a chance for her mom to come and hang out with the grandbabies. And her mom seemed to be a little bit, you know, slow with jumping into it, which I know that Mia is trying to fix that relationship. But unfortunately, I don't think that she's getting from her mom what she needs or what she wants or what she expects. But on the flip side of that, Mia wastes absolutely no time pulling on my heartstrings with the conversation between her and her mom to just flipping it and having a conversation with her husband G. And where this conversation irritated me was because Mia was starting to talk about Candiace and Chris. And yes, I am a Candiace fan, but I feel like regardless who it was, whether it was Candiace, Wendy, Giselle, whoever, I'm just like, girl, why are you talking mess? She is so concerned about Candiace and Chris. And I'm saying this because I don't know that she is coming from a good place. She did say that, you know, she was concerned about them being in business together. I guess we'll see. Moving right along, light your candles up, and it became Battle of the Candles, it seemed like, on Real Housewives of Potomac. Because Karen is sitting there, she is on a business call, handling her business, and I have to give it to Miss Karen. Out of all these housewives on Real Housewives of Potomac, she does seem to be the most business savvy. But, you know, her candle is almost ready. So I will say I do believe her now about how, you know, she said that this was something that had been in the works way before Wendy brought up her candle. Karen, we definitely got to give it to Karen for that little light shade. The 3-wick versus the 1-wick. So speaking of the 1-wick candle, we get a scene with Wendy, and she is sitting down to speak with Idris. And she's giving him her business plan. And I have to say, Wendy got 4 degrees, but business ain't one. Because Eddie flipped it on her and had many questions, which to me seemed like some valid questions, but Wendy's math was not mathing. Wendy's math was not mathing at all. I mean, he was like, you know, how much does it cost? How much do you sell them for? Valid questions, stuff that she probably should have had in her business plan. You know, who's making the candle? What do they look like? Valid questions, I think. You know, I never put a candle out on the market, but I'm sure this is something that, you know, Karen thought about. Anyway, regardless whether Wendy got it figured out or not, Eddie does say that she definitely has vision, but she just needs to figure out the rest of it, you know. So speaking of another business plan, we get to see another businesswoman, Ashley. Ashley is going over to her uncle's house. She takes the boys over, Dylan and Dean, and her Uncle Lump is there, her aunts, her cousin, her mom is there, and they all sit down and have a chat. And of course, Ashley starts off, I feel like Ashley a lot of time overshares. But, you know, to each his own. I love that she's so comfortable sharing. She makes it known that she is having some trouble with her vajayjay, where it's basically falling out. Was it enough last season when she revealed that, you know, she had a torn booty hole, but now you got a messed up vajayjay? I mean, sis is having trouble. So anyway, moving right along. Of course, that was not the important conversation. I'm going to get to that in just a second. But let me just tell you how Uncle Lump stops Ashley to ask her, you know, how's it going with the new nanny? And of course, Ashley is like, oh, it's going good. But, you know, I will say that it's obvious that Uncle Lump is not a fan of Michael the same way that most of us are not. And so I feel like there is definitely some distrust there, and that may have been the motivation behind the question that he asked about the nanny, because there obviously would be some concern with the nanny being in your house and this cheating man also being in your house too. But anyway, Ashley doesn't seem too concerned about it. And, you know, if I was Ashley, to be honest with you, I would not be concerned either. I mean, Michael could go, you know, sleep in anybody's bed and do whoever he wanted. I mean, Ashley, he secured her bag 2 times. She got 2 kids by him now. So it don't matter. Let him do what he want to do. I really think Ashley's just sitting back and getting ready for Michael just to, you know, hang himself. Because she did say to him at one point, you know, the next time that it's going to be some serious consequences for our marriage. And I think, you know, I'm going to have to believe her on that, because I think that's part of her plan. But getting to what I wanted to discuss with you when I said that, you know, talking about another businesswoman. So, you know, Ashley and Michael, of course, closed their restaurant down, that kangaroo restaurant. And now Michael came up with this great idea to be in the show business. You know, he said he wants to be in the movie business, which I'm very confused about what exactly his role in the movie business would be. I don't know if he's talking about getting into some kind of production or what, but, you know, Ashley just said that, you know, she has learned, you know, some stuff from the last time when they were in business together with the restaurant. She learned what not to do and what ways not to go about it with him, you know, if she was going to get into this movie business stuff with him. There is kind of a theme going on, you know, this episode with the husband and the wives, and the way that their businesses overlap or intertwine, or, you know, they're being, you know, how the ladies are involved rather with their men in business. I mean, even me and her husband, you know, she don't want to admit that he is the reason why she has a business, but, you know, G is still probably very much involved. Yes, another businesswoman on the cast, Miss Robin, with her satin hats. Robin is looking for a warehouse space because she says that, you know, her business is growing. But Juan tagged along to look at the warehouse space. And I have to say, this scene was good between them. It was good to see basically some love and affection between the two of them. He seemed like he was very, you know, supportive of, you know, her finding a space for her hat business. Obviously, he supports her, especially if the hats are doing well. But, you know, they look at the space and it looks like they seem to like the space, and that the space is going to work out for them. Robin had basically, you know, got some balls, or I think this is what, you know, the therapy or the life coach has been trying to get her to do, because she finally opens her mouth and has a conversation with Juan. Not really a conversation, but she just tells him, you know, I wish you would be a little bit more supportive of me, or at least, you know, I wish that you would speak, you know, be a little bit more softer with me, a little bit more gentle. I don't need you to be a coach. You know what I'm saying? And he makes a comment saying he will be softer if she has a baby girl. Now, they've been talking about this baby girl for a long time. But like I said, I'm confused. This scene confused me. Because a lot of times we pick at Robin, and I say we because I know y'all out there in the comments and social media, Instagram, Twitter, we always coming at Robin saying that Juan does not want her. But this scene kind of changed my mind about them. I kind of saw some affection between the two of them. For the first time, I seen a little bit of chemistry between them. And that's why I said I'm confused. I'm confused about their relationship and what they're doing. And, you know, it may be that Juan does really want Robin. But maybe he's just not comfortable with the cameras. Or, you know, being in front of the cameras. Because it does seem like he does run from the cameras a lot of time. And maybe that's just why we get, you know, the perception that he, you know, is not into Robin like that. But another reason why, like I said, once again, I'm confused. Because it's like, well, if you want her, then marry her. And, you know, speaking of, like I said last week, y'all done went and bought this house together, or y'all building this house together, but y'all ain't even married yet. And that was one of her things. She said she wanted to be married before she, you know, got into a home situation, buying a home, you know, with him. So she, you know, mentioned that they were $100,000 over budget for the house. I mean, but it's COVID times, and I hear that that's easy to do, especially with the cost of materials. I will say, you know, a lot of times I used to love Robin. I really did love Robin. And I still love Robin. I love Robin when she's away from Giselle. I feel like Giselle just makes her somebody else. She's not really her own person. She don't have her own brain when she is around Giselle. But when Robin is away from Giselle, I love her. And I definitely, you know, took to her during the first season. And let me tell you why. I mean, let's keep it real. All these housewife shows, we love them because they present so much luxury. They give us a taste of a life that we might not necessarily know. Because I know I'm average, and I'm guessing you watching at home that you average. You an average person. And I do not live in a mansion, and I do not drive a Maserati, or, you know, a Range Rover, or this, that, and the third. But we watch these people on TV, and we're so impressed by them. But I have to say, I loved Robin her first season because she just seemed so average. She seemed like so relatable, because they were having their money problems, and it's like, girl, us at home, we have money problems too. I mean, Robin had a real job. She was filming. But if you remember, and you were a real fan of this show, you remember that Robin had times where she would disappear, or they would be like, well, Robin, we didn't see you at the event. And Robin would be like, oh, I had to work. And I believe that she was some kind of marketing person or something, because even Ashley reached out to her because she knew that was her profession. And Ashley reached out to Robin for help with her restaurant, because, you know, Oz was not doing well. So she reached out to Robin for some marketing advice, which Robin gave her excellent advice that really seemed to help her restaurant a little bit. So, you know, that's why I said Robin was so relatable, because it's like we see Robin as a working girl. She still got to work, you know, forget these cameras, you know, she got to work. So that's why, you know, I really took to Robin the first season. I mean, it might sound dumb to you, but that was my reason. One of my reasons behind liking Robin. She was real with it. You know what I'm saying? And I have to say, this house that they're building, when they showed it, I was thinking that they were going to be living in some extravagant mansion. But if you paused that TV and you saw that picture of that house that they were building, that is a regular suburban house. Now, I live in South Carolina, and a house like that would probably typically range from the way that it looks. I'm looking at that house and I'm thinking, okay, that is upper maybe all the way from maybe like a $250,000 house to a $350,000 house. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like something us average people were living in. I mean, it's a regular suburb. It looked like a new build. I mean, if you saw the picture and you paused it on the screen, you saw the next door neighbor's house sitting right there. So they ain't got no yard like the rest of us ain't got no yard. They ain't living on no big old land. So I say all of that to say Robin is definitely relatable. And, you know, I'm rooting for her and Juan. I hope that, you know, that they do have a good relationship despite what all of us think. Moving right along, my girl is in rehearsal. Drive back. Like I said, it's a bop. You need to go, you need to pause my video and go look at Candiace's video. I mean, because baby girl did it. I love the video. She mentioned that it cost her like $10,000, and baby, it was $10,000 well spent. But, you know, we get a scene. Candiace is at rehearsal. She's learning her dance steps, and Candiace cannot dance. She cannot dance. She was having trouble with the routine, but she pulled it off in the end, and that's all that matters. So in between rehearsal, Candiace takes a short break to call Chris, and he basically tells her that unfortunately he is going to miss the video shoot. And I have to say, of course, that is disappointing, but I ain't mad at Chris, because Chris had a good reason for missing the video shoot. Dude had to work. And I'm gonna tell you right now, you don't never stop no man from working. If that man got a job, you let him go to work. It ain't nothing more important than work in my book, okay? As long as you bringing home a check, baby, you go ahead. So we get to the day of the video shoot, and let me tell you, this is where the bulk of the episode came from. Like I said, I really enjoyed this episode. So we get Mia with her messy self. She pulls up first to the video shoot, and she gets out complaining, talking about, where is everybody? Why I'm in the parking lot? And talking about how the people are setting up and nobody's ready. Girl, really? I mean, y'all are on a TV show. Don't even play. So you know what it's like to have to wait on people to set up their cameras and their microphones and whatnot. So stop it. But then Wendy comes up next, and then also Giselle joins them. Giselle makes some comment in her confessional saying, you know, that she had just made up with Wendy and something about don't be a hater. And I was like, girl, please, you know, who's hating on you? Girl, just look at you and look what you got on. So Miss Dorothy shows up on the scene, and Mia, this is her first time meeting Miss Dorothy. So she asked Miss Dorothy, how old are you? Now, you know, you're not supposed to ask a woman her age. But she was trying to pay Miss Dorothy a compliment. It was funny what Wendy said, because, you know, Wendy's mom is a character also. We got to see a little bit of her last season when, you know, it was Wendy's first season on. But Wendy was just like, you know, my mom would be like, well, it is none of your business how old I am. You need to be worried about how old you look. I died laughing. So when Candiace gets there to set, they realize that, you know, there are really two things missing. You know, not only is Chris missing in action, but there are some cars that are missing. Because for this shoot, we were supposed to get, you know, some luxury vehicles that were going to, you know, be like a backdrop for Candiace's dance scene. And it's supposed to be like a drag race type, you know, thing set up that they, you know, so you got to have the cars. So I will say that Bravo kind of, I think, was giving Chris a bad edit, because they made it seem as though this was Chris's fault. Like he dropped the ball and he was not doing good as Candiace's manager. But that was cleared up on Watch What Happens Live. They said that Candiace has a team that she works with, and Chris was in charge of the team. The team was supposed to report to Chris. Chris's expectation for the team was that the team would have the cars there, and the team failed. So it all fell on Chris. So, you know, don't be too hard on my boy. But Askale is the MVP who saves the day, because not only was she the best dressed of the week, I mean, could we stop for a minute and just talk about everybody's outfits? I mean, clearly Candiace looked good. It was her video, so she was dressed appropriately for what she was doing. Wendy showed up. They kind of kept on making a big deal. Mia said something about, you know, she was trying to be like Tupac or something. Girl, whatever. I liked the piece, the do-rag that was on Wendy's head. I thought it was cute. Mia looked like, you know, the tramp that she is, with some, you know, fishnet stockings. Karen showed up. They kind of shaded her a little bit, saying that, you know, she was dressed for a business meeting. But, you know, the grand dame is always ready. Giselle showed up, of course, as always, looking dreadful. She looked you know, okay. But she had on some sneakers. She was the only person who had sneakers on. Robin showed up. She was all right. She did look definitely better than her friend. But she, you know, my only problems with Robin was that, you know, she had the braids again. You know, she's now taking the little micro braids out and went to these big old, like, Handmaid's Tales braids, and they still ain't working for her. Miss Dot, you showed up, and, you know, she was looking regular like somebody's mama. But back to it, like I said, the scholar was looking, I mean, fierce and fabulous. She walked up and I was like, yes! So she walked up and she saved the day, partly because, you know, Candiace was able to say, well, you know, is this your car? Can we use it? Could you pull it over here? So a scholar pulls her beautiful white Range Rover over, you know, so Candiace can use it for the video. Karen also steps in. I believe Karen drives a Maserati, or either like a Porsche or something. Either way, it's an expensive car. It's something that you know, I can't afford. So those two, you know, they do use those cars for the video, so it worked out. I will say, I gotta give it up to Wendy. I really think that, you know, Wendy is a stand-up woman. She is classy, and she is a good friend. Because Candiace kind of, you know, when she was looking for, you know, the car replacements and was trying to figure out whose car she could use, she did ask Wendy, you know, can we use your car? And Wendy was like, well, you know, I drive the Range Rover, but it's not the new model, like, you know, what a scholar has. Which I will have to say, if you've seen Wendy's Range Rover, it's black and it's nice too. So, you know, it's a brag as well. But then Candiace, you know, asked Wendy, well, you know, what does Mia drive? And Wendy was kind of just like, like, you know, don't even, To me, it seemed like she was kind of like, don't even go ask her nothing, because she over there talking all the mess in the world with your mama. Which, that's a friend, because, I mean, Miss Mia has been sitting over there being a Judge Judy the whole time, got something to say about the video shoot, got something to say about Candiace's husband, and all up in their business. So, you know, I would have hated for Candiace to, you know, have to go ask her to use her car. I mean, that would have gave Mia something else to talk about. Mia is just so concerned, of course, about this Candiace and Chris situation. She blatantly comes out and asks Miss Dot, you know, about the situation between Candiace, asks, is Chris getting paid? Now, how is that any of her business? I don't know. But, you know, that just gets Miss Dot started, because that just gives her permission to go ahead and start talking and telling everybody, telling the whole world about Candiace and Chris and their situation. Wendy kind of wasn't having it. She wasn't listening to it. And she was one who wasn't entertaining. And I will say Karen didn't entertain it at either, because Karen was like, hey, I'm just getting back to a good place with Candiace, and you're not going to have me up in this. But, you know, Robin lent her ear right to Miss Dorothy and was leaning to get the tea. And, you know, the other green eye Band-Aid was right behind her, listening as well. Like Wendy said, Mia don't know who she is, who she messing with, because, you know, Candiace is the articulated assassin, baby, and you cannot keep up with her. Which I will mention, because I know we all, you know, been watching them tweets that's been going on this week. I don't know why Miss Mia is coming for Candiace like this, but baby, you cannot keep up. You might as well just let it go. You were definitely out of line for mentioning Chris and saying what you said about that lady's husband. I mean, because why are you talking like that when you got your own? Anyway, the video shoot gets on its way. Chris ends up showing up. He wanted things to be right for Candiace, so he was upset that, you know, stuff did not play out the way that it should. So he was upset, but he calmed down. And then, so the video went good, I think. Anyway, that was pretty much the episode. We did get a trailer to next week's episode, and it looks like, you know, some things will unfold then. So I will be looking forward to that, and I will see you here back next week. As always, don't do nothing you're going to have to explain, because you know your girl Chrissy explains it all. Peace.